Hello and welcome back to part three of our three-part series on the USGAA county team. I'm your host, Gareth McAlinden, along with Limerick's finest, Connor Green. Before we get going, as always, a big shout out to Des and his team at Mesita for all his hard work for ensuring the county team and USGAA clubs are ready to go for the upcoming season and championships. Remember to order your county and club gear through their website at mesita.ie. We're very excited for this episode. So today we're joined by the first captain of the USGA county team. I'm going to go ahead and say it. Captain America himself, Jack Lynch. The face is shaking already. But Jack, welcome to the show.
Yeah, right. Captain America. Exactly. That's what I'm going by for now on.
We'll keep that to a short. We'll keep them Captain Americas to a lower end tonight. We'll wait for Saturday until we see you.
Yeah.
Uh,
Bring
and
some,
I'm
bring
sure
the,
you'll
bring,
probably be getting more of that.
guys. Bring those headshots. I'll sign a few for you, buddy, and you can hang them up behind you. My big fat
Love it.
head hanging up behind you. Yeah. Let's get to it.
Well, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and what got you into the GAA, and just kind of your journey into where you are today.
Yeah. I'm from Boston. Well, not from Boston. I grew up in the suburbs, just outside the city. Both my parents from Cork, so my dad originally came over playing football here for Cork, Boston, and then my mom also comes from a big GA family with the Canaleys. They kind of were major contributors to the Christophers. And that was in the '80s, and then yeah, I guess they met out here, uh, and then uh, and then arrived come Jack eventually. We know that happens, and then just got dragged out to Canton and like Dillboy and stuff, and then it's just been like a major part of both sides of my family's lives. And I've just loved it ever since I was a kid. And I kind of have the same story, I'm sure, as a lot of kids out here in Boston, where it's once you start getting involved in the community, you kind of it's a bit contagious, and you just stay with it. Yeah, now I'm 29. It's crazy how fast it went. It's not over, obviously, but you definitely it's crazy. It's mad how fast the years go by. So, and now I'm still living just outside the city, just like in Quincy, so not too far. And then, yeah, we heard about the team this year, so thought why not? It would be a good. We went back and played in a fail, and not like in I didn't even know the year, but when I'm obviously under 14, that was obviously a great time. And then ever since then, you always was thinking like it'd be a great time to go back again as you're older and get a chance to compete over there. So here we are. Luckily everything's gone our way. So we'll see how we do in July.
Jack, did you play any other sports growing up? Am I right in saying you played a bit of soccer? Or
Yeah, played a little bit of soccer. Yeah, messed around with some of the other traditional American sports. Was pretty shit at them, to be honest. Yeah, so I got stuck with just soccer, and then played a little bit of hurling. Nothing crazy. Just I just kind of enjoy it. I'm shit at that too, but and football is just kind of a little easier. So it's more fitness than the hurling is, and it's obviously a little more popular around Boston, as you can tell by the amount of clubs at the moment. So yeah, kind of just picked it up, even more so after college once I got a little more settled. So I've been playing every summer, and luckily, kind of what injuries have been my way. So I I've been fortunate in that standpoint to keep playing.
Jack, what was your initial reaction when you heard that the USGA were putting together a county team, to compete over in Ireland?
Yeah, you obviously see that New York's going over a lot, especially as of late. Definitely gets you a little jealous, and then right when they gave us the opportunity to they presented like a U.S. team going over. You just instantly think like, why not? Why can't it be us? Like it'd be a great time for one, and then like a kind of a once in a lifetime experience. Uh, and like as the years go by, you realize that these opportunities don't come across often. And I think it's just a great opportunity to even just grow the game here in the U.S. I think major downside to especially like the Boston area is after college or once kids go to college, there's nothing really to look forward to. You see a major drop off in the numbers in the U.S. players. So I think hopefully this will continue to grow the game here locally and around the U.S.
You said so. Looking at the county team as a whole, but you were saying you actually had Fela experience as well,
Yeah.
and you actually went to Ireland with the Fela team too, correct?
Yeah. I think we honestly competed in like the last division. Can't really even remember honestly. I just remember it was a great time, but yeah, it was a Boston only team. I think we're in like one of the lower divisions, and it was a great time for sure. But then I think New York was competing too, and they were obviously I think Division two or one or something like that. They were in a lot higher division, so it's like once this opportunity came across, it'd be like a no-brainer. You have to try and go for it. So and then luckily I think teams have been going to Ireland ever since our Fela team. So and I think like every city's sending Fela teams now too. So that's really cool to see how the game's grown so much since it was like 2014 even.
So how's your whole experience been with this whole USGA say project team? Starting with, Chicago was the first that weekend tournament, and then, follow that into Tampa Bay, where then it even was narrowed down even more then to Philly. So how was that process for you? I know from watching the games online, they looked like they were very competitive games. Even the final was a pretty one. But how would you say your experience was with the whole thing?
Yeah, it's been great. Like credit to a lot of the people in the background there making it very easy for the players having a lot of stuff organized for you. So you kind of once you book the trip, it's just kind of everything else taken care of. So there's a lot of groundwork behind the scenes that a lot of people aren't seeing. So credit to them. But in regards to the football and standard, it's actually it has been very fun competing. You hear about different competitions around the country, and you always think in the back of your head like, oh, I'd love to compare how our city is to theirs. And sometimes those like North Americans when some teams kind of whittle out due to their visas being up and stuff. So it's good to like compare just Americans on Americans. So I think the standard has been fairly solid though. To be honest, yeah, we're in for a good test this weekend, so I'll see how we really are. But in regard to going to Chicago, that was a great weekend. Two hard games, and it was a lot of fun to play with kids around Boston. And then once we went down to Tampa, it was just that was going to be always interesting to see how we'd all gel together. But it was almost like after the first session, it wasn't really any hiccups. Everyone just kind of knew we were all here for the same reason to try and compete over in July and hopefully win, come home with a bit of silverware. So it's fairly strange how well everyone synced. And we're hoping to even do a little bit more this weekend. So looking forward to it for sure.
So, how do you feel about the 15-a-side aspect now versus the 13? Like, would you be excited about that, or would you fancy yourself?
Yeah, I definitely would. As you
Sure,
guys know,
you're no stranger to physicality, that's for sure.
yeah,
Anyone that's seen you
yeah,
play.
no stranger to black cards anyway. But the it's obviously the space a little tighter, and you're on an island out there in 13 aside if you're in the back line a little bit. So I'm looking forward to it. I imagine it's gonna be some bit of a difference for sure, especially going forward. But I like we've played yeah, we played out in Chicago 15 aside, so that was a bit of a taste to it. But I'm sure we did a few sessions with Pat O'Shea as well, which helped like we understand a bit more movement and such. So um I think this weekend actually would be a very good test for us, and then we have the following month we have another game 15 aside. I don't think it'll be any I don't think it'd be too much of a learning curve for us. Obviously, there's a lot more tactics that can be in play. Um, but coming from a faster game at 13 aside, I think it might be a little easier to adjust rather than flipping the other way.
Speaking of tactics, there, our last episode we had the manager, Aidan Core, that, myself and Connor definitely related to his philosophies, which is very player-driven teams. How would you say the experience has been working with him, and how do you think the players as a whole has reacted to, his methods and his leadership?
Yeah, I think everyone's on board with it for sure. I think there's like I don't think there's like a couple leaders. I think there's a lot of guys out there who are would put themselves down as the leadership, especially the vocalness of everyone. There's a lot of leaders there, so I think Aiden especially has been saying that message from the start, right? Where he was kind of just leaving it up to us to try and make something of it, which is good to see. Because sometimes when you see managers get a little bit too involved, then you can cause little rifts in the camp. So, um, I'm uh I'm really looking forward to it. But I think we need to start that one over. Kind of blacked out. I got a random text from work that was an X-ray. Sorry about that, boys.
No worries. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
So ask that one again.
No,
This
no,
is
no. Go
on.
ahead. No, just keep going. That's I can
What was
cut
that
that one
question
out.
again? So what was that? It was like, how was the message from Aiden Core? Was it or something?
Yeah, how's the whole experience working with Aiden Core? Just give it like 3 seconds and then just continue on.
Yeah. So the experience of working with Aiden Core has been very solid thus far. He's got a good camp with him as well. I think all the selectors from different sides of the city, all over the country, is excellent as well. It gives you just different perspectives. From what it sounds like, he's taking everything into account. Um, I also think that his whole philosophy around the player-driven team is great. And it's just it's not putting any pressure on us. It's more just so asking us to step up, and he'll go as far as we're willing to take it. So, um, thus far it's been fairly solid experience, and then he's calling everyone fairly often, so he's being communicating, and then also his philosophy is actually great to hear. It's very positive, where it's more of attacking style, and it's not necessarily staying back, and we're going to be fully on the opposition's heels. So it's been very good thus far.
So Jack, what was it like getting the call from management there to say you were going to be named captain of the first USGA team?
Yeah, it was obviously it's great to hear that your teammates have that respect for you, but again, I don't really take any notice of it. It's not going to change anything I do, or uh, I don't expect anyone to treat me any different. Yeah, carry on. But I think there's a lot of leaders on the team, and I expect there will continue to be a lot of leaders on the team. So it's a great honor, but nothing should really change anyone's perspective or your one's work ethic necessarily. So definitely looking forward to going back to Ireland with the guys, and I think we got a great group. So um, I'm looking forward to leading them, I suppose.
So how much of the WhatsApp group is giving you shit about the Captain America? Let's get back to that.
A lot of WhatsApp banter going back and forth. Some of my American buddies who don't even know I like really play this or just send me headshots. It's bad. It's real bad. Gormley's giving me a lot of abuse. Moylan thinks he's funny. Those are two standouts. So yeah, it's it is what it is. But I was kind of catfished into the whole Boston part, like in front of the seaport and stuff. But hopefully it looks not too bad.
Hopefully there's no more surprises coming
I
up,
still have
right?
unopened messages in the old inbox there that I'm just not gonna look at. So,
But
it's
how important is that camaraderie though on the WhatsApp group? I know it's all like, bit of banter and stuff, but how important is that now that, you can all communicate as players, and Aidan actually talked about that, the importance of that player WhatsApp group where they can kind of bond together without the worries of coaches uh, looking in. Just, so then when you guys do meet in Boston, this weekend and then the upcoming game, when you guys all do meet up, it kind of starts that conversation and that banter again.
Yeah. No, 100%. It's vital. Like you obviously I heard you speak on it actually. It's important kind of know you're going to war with, the figure of speech, but you definitely want a tight knit group. Fellas that are willing to like do anything to win and do anything for the guy beside them. So I think any like good team, it starts with a good camaraderie around the camp. You definitely need a few characters for sure to keep things going and keep things interesting. And then it's just like it's just mad that like 15, 20 years ago you wouldn't even been able to do this at all. And like with these group chats and everything, it's some bit of comedy going on.
So, how do you feel about what's coming up next? We obviously hear you have the game coming up in Boston this weekend. Of course, it's your hometown. You kind of know the competition, you know the area. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, we're looking forward to it for sure. It's actually like we other than like in-house challenge matches against ourselves, we haven't really gotten to play real competition. So I think it'll be good to see how it's just like anything when you're training all the time, you're gonna get to know your own guys' tendencies. So it's gonna be good to see how we all play against the actual serious competition. There's obviously been a huge uptick in quality players, especially coming out to Boston since COVID. So it'll be a serious test for us. There's a lot of fellas who've played county or so, but I think a lot of these boys have been playing against a lot of that caliber across the country. So definitely by no means to be intimidated or anything, but more so looking forward to the challenge. And then in Queens, I don't know much about the Queens team. I just know they obviously have a serious setup out there, and I'm not more so. It'd be good to see how we grow from the game this weekend to a month from now, and seeing how we've adjusted to the 15-a-side game, and trying to get to know each other's tendencies on the field, and how to make this thing gel a little bit better.
I think it's going to be interesting too about the game up in Boston. You're probably going to have a few people, few American kids playing in that game with almost a chip on their shoulder. That, maybe they didn't get selected for the team, or, it'll be interesting to see. Well, I'll be going out to that game, but it'll be interesting to see how some of the American players that maybe didn't get picked to see, they'll be definitely up for the challenge, knowing that, all right, I've got something to fight for here. Uh, Knowing that this is going to be an annual thing now, and this is the time now to really put themselves forward. I'm sure you play with and a lot of these against a lot of these players, but do you think that's going to be an added little bit of um, wouldn't say chippiness, but I would say a little added pressure for you guys to really step up and perform?
Yeah, definitely. Uh, a lot of fellas, you definitely feel for them that they weren't selected, and even more credit to them that they want to be a part of this next game. Like I'd be kind of the same way, looking for the challenge to not necessarily get back anyone, but prove that I was supposed to be there. Yeah, I play with one fellow off top, like Sean Sullivan. He's a great player. Very like I, great. Like he just picked it up there the last few years, and he's a serious player now. So I think I imagine he'll probably be up for it. I haven't really looked at the other team's sheet, but no, like you definitely have a little bit of pressure, but that pressure's good. It hopefully brings the talent, like it brings the best players to the top of their game. And you want the best challenge you can get. So fellas who it means something a little more to them is probably even better competition. So and then there's a lot of great players out there, and I imagine that since it's an annual thing, like here's another tryout to prove that you deserve to be there next year. So um, yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm sure these American kids around Boston are definitely going to bring their game. So
Thing to give random guys a chance to get some reps at a high level, higher than your own club is always a good thing. It's definitely something that the GA has been lacking out here. Like every sport there's kind of like something that you could build towards. Like and
mhm.
there hasn't really been that as such here.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's great to see these games against like random like select teams and uh,
yep.
you know
I completely agree. It's obviously weather permitting, but it's kind of a pity that after middle August, end of August, that GA just shuts off for another 5 or 6 months, and then you're just in the gym, just or like you're just trying to stay in shape some way. But like you said, like any way that we can put on games like this or blitzes, like I know the Max just started a blitz there recently up in Boston, which has been good. They've been getting teams from all like even Canada to come down. So any game is obviously good for the growing the GA in the US. So it's no, it's fun and exciting.
It's great for some of the, you obviously see in Boston the youth programs that are really
Hmm.
like they're growing substantially. Like the clubs like St. Brendan's and Trinity, and a lot of them kids will probably be there on Saturday watching this team with, now something to look forward to. Hopefully that this can be something for the next, 10, 20, 30 years when they're in their 20s, really this could be something that they could be part of, versus like the Fila, underage, but this is kind of like the highest level, right? And where you can go. This is kind of like the county level in Ireland. So it's that kind of what you aim for. So it'll be great for them kids to watch them, and they can kind of see, right, well, there is that player pathway from the youth level to go into the senior. Yes, and play senior or whatever level you're playing in Boston, but now to have that something to fight for that USGA county team, which, will be, I have no doubt it's going to be a great success for the next couple of years and hopefully for many, many years. Um, but it'll be a great thing for them.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. Yeah, so that's obviously the goal. So I don't even know how many kids tried out this year, but I imagine we if so that's a little bit of pressure on us where we have to try and make this go well and uh treat it with the respect it deserves, so kids in the future can have the opportunity to. But I imagine this team will be even like 4 times harder to make in 5 years down the line, with how fast it's growing around the nation. Yeah, and to your point, in Boston alone. I've seen a few youth games out there, and the amount of kids around age groups is like probably triple than when I played. So it's good to see. It really is. And like you're seeing even just like kids with no Irish relations all picking up the game, which is very interesting to see as well. You guys see it too out in Worcester. Like you've developed a very nice club there, where it's like you get how many boys down at Trinity you guys getting? Like 20, 30 or so. It's amazing. And I imagine like half of them are American, so it's cool to see.
Yeah, and like we just started a couple of years ago, and you had one of the guys, obviously that plays with us, but then plays up with Cork too. That was in Chicago too. So
Mhm.
Sean Sullivan,
Yeah,
who was in Chicago and just picked it up a year and a half ago. So,
yeah,
even for somebody, not just yes, it's great for the players that have came through the youth, but still an opportunity for new people coming to the sport too. That it's also for them too,
yeah,
and an opportunity for them. And, more players like that are always welcome with us because we need more Americans,
yeah.
just with, the junior C, because you can only play 3 hours.
Mhm.
Um, but it's great to see. I mean, long may it continue for us. And the same for Boston clubs too, because it
Yep.
seems to be really growing, which is good.
So to circle back on the Ireland trip, so other than the games, of course, what are you most excited for in that trip?
Um, I think honestly it's probably a cool feeling for a lot of the kids on the trip there. I know I'd say everyone's got some sort of Irish relations, so I think that'd be actually a kind of a like a nice moment there where after the game you get to see some of your uncles or aunts or such and cousins. And like that's kind of full circle. And then I'd also be happy for like my parents and stuff, like the amount of time and effort they put into me going to games and stuff. And I think my dad will be there. Mom won't be because my sister's pregnant. So uh my dad of course snuck away from that. And then so that would be a nice moment. But I think it's kind of a cool full circle moment, um, where I go over there, and I'm sure a lot of people are in the same boat. Um, but it's going to be just a serious test at the end of the day, see where actually we're at, and by no means are we there to just like play one game and go on the beer or something like that. We're there to win. Plenty of beer and after, I'm sure.
Plenty of beer and after, but like, still got to eat good too, right?
Oh
So
yeah,
still got to enjoy some Supermax and stuff when you get
yeah,
there, and
yeah.
all the regular stuff, the Chinese food,
Spice
actual
girls.
Chinese
Not to get
food,
the doner kebabs, like,
doner kebabs. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
So no, Aiden Coral will be not having that up until leading to the game. It'll be all strict diets, no drinking, but then after it, yeah, you can go and enjoy your Supermax and your Chinese. So,
yeah,
um, but no, it'll be great. I mean, you talk about your families going, and I'm sure for a lot of these kids, I'm sure a lot of them come from Irish families, and no doubt you're probably going to have a lot of them traveling home because, yeah, you're right. It'll be a proud moment for them to see their kids and the work they've put in. A lot of these kids have grown up in like youth programs through the Fela and all the hard work and dedication. Then weekends of, oh, I gotta take the wee one to Gaelic. I gotta
yeah,
take him over here, and that time and effort that's put in that actually, is now falling into potentially playing in an All Ireland Junior Championship in Croke Park, which is, I mean, it's got to be very, very proud moment for them. Not sure, obviously yourselves too, but for them too, for all the hard work and effort they've put in.
yeah. Definitely couldn't agree more. Um, yeah, it's a lot, but that being said, like the amount of people who have like taking their own personal time to try and make this happen is it's truly amazing. So, um, it'd be it's just it's you definitely don't want to let them down either.
So obviously, it's hard to say right now without playing a competitive game. Uh, but you've had a look at the lads. You've seen the trainings. You've seen kind of like the system you guys are going to be playing. How do you think? What do you think your chances are going over here? Obviously, you're going to be playing against very tough teams. You're going to be playing against teams that have been playing probably together more for longer than what you have been playing. But what chances do you have? Do you guys think you have the players to get the job done?
Yeah, I think we do. I think we've got a nice deep panel as well. Like when we played the uh basically a 15-a-side game amongst ourselves, it was very competitive and it was close. There wasn't really any favorite or anything. So I think the quality of the panel and depth is great. Um, and you've definitely seen a few of the clips of some of the competition's games, and it's not that I'm underestimating them, but it's definitely somewhere where I think we'd be more than capable of competing at. Um, and then I just think the main thing is we just got to keep putting in the work here these next few months, and everything else should fall in place. But by no means I don't think anyone would be intimidated by the standard. So um, that's just a great group of fellows, and I'd say once we gel a little bit more together, hopefully we're flying it, come July.
It's going to be an interesting battle for you there. You know, comparing like yourselves to the other teams, like it's much much wider net. But you're obviously guys from like all over the country. Um, like, do you think football is a sport? Like, how important do you think like the connection is on the field? Like, in football, do you think is it just a case of like the better team wins, or is there how important would you say that aspect of it is?
I think it's not necessarily the better team wins all the time, but you can just kind of see it every summer when boys come out. It's a pretty cool thing. You just as fellas you don't even know from a hole in the wall, come out in like June, and then by the end of August you're like good best friends from 'em. You'd be able to call them for a beer or call them at any time. When you go back to Ireland, it's more of like it's not like not to sound soft, man. It's kind of like a lifelong kind of friendship. It's crazy how a sport does that. Um, I don't think that this will be any bit different than that though. So it's the things of what football can do is just amazing.
So I've asked Paul, John, and Aidan this question, and I think it's only fair to ask you this question too. But Once this whole thing is said and done, what would you define as success?
Um, Selfishly, winning it. However, the broader picture to continue to send teams going forward for sure. I think it's about developing the game here locally, and then having I obviously ideally just continuously grow better players, and then have a better panel going over, and hopefully climbing grades. All of a sudden, you see New York playing in the Talented Cup. All of a sudden, you can have a U.S. team in the Talented. So a lot of that doesn't happen if we don't start off on the right foot. So selfishly, I think uh, we definitely are. I would say it's not success unless we really win it.
So give us a quick overview. So so what's next is Boston.
Yeah.
Then a month after that is then you all meet again in Boston to play Queens.
Yeah.
Then what date do you guys leave for Boston or for
Uh,
Ireland?
I want to say July 7th, I think.
Okay.
So then we play Queens. Uh, I think I'm not sure if that's 1 or 2 days when they're in Boston. I imagine we'll do a training session then a game. And then we go to Queens. I mean, we go to Ireland, and then I think everyone flies into Shannon. We do a few days around Limerick at UL, and then we make our way over to Dublin. And then I think we're staying up in North Dublin, and then we're playing our semifinal there at the end of the week. Then hopefully we stay on, and then we play a final on the weekend. But in the meantime, we're all just kind of staying active with our own clubs. I know locally in Boston, a lot of us are meeting up on this team once a week to train, just do a little bit extra ball work, and then I know everyone's doing their own fitness. Fitness is kind of the only thing we can control, so that's vital. And as we all know, if you don't have the legs in football, you have no business being out there.
I'm curious too, what is your being and don't feel like you have to answer this question because it is kind of putting you on the spot a little bit. Um, but how's so obviously some of the clubs in Boston are going to be losing some of their best players for a couple of weeks for this championship. How is the club's reaction been to this whole thing? Has they been very supportive, or has there been a little bit of we're going to be losing in very it's middle of July, that's championship season, so that could potentially detrimental to them making the championship semifinals. How's the reaction been from some of the clubs?
I haven't had any pushback, and I haven't heard much from anyone else. They've been extremely supportive, if anything. Um, they're posting stuff about all their players, it seems. So, even from competitive clubs. So, I think it's just more so overwhelming support, and I think they're almost proud to have players go over. So, um, but I will say that our local management team has made a point to just keep playing with their clubs throughout. Uh, Not only because it's important to get game time, but also the fact that the club is very important and almost comes first. Without that, you wouldn't even be there. So you can't just leave them high and dry. I think the week we're gone, the CYC is happening anyway, so championship goes on pause. Um, but then uh, once we go back to Boston, then we have then it's probably almost semifinal time. So looking forward to that as always.
Well, because it's the when you have the semi-final, how many days later is the final
In Ireland or in Boston?
in Ireland?
So I think it's the Thursday, and then we play again on the Sunday.
Okay, so it's pretty quick turnaround. It's like
Yeah.
one right after the other. Okay, so
Yeah.
it's not like the week later.
No, no. So we're there for almost just like a week, just in and out. And then whoever wants to stay on can stay on. But yeah. It's I think we're there pretty much a week.
And how's Cork going to do this year?
We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. They've got decent. They got good numbers in training. Yeah, Sean's about. Even though he's going through law school, he's still showing up to training. during finals week like a psycho. So
We actually we actually have a game Friday night.
You might know Patrick Sullivan there, Jack. I don't know if I don't know
yeah,
if you went to training recently or
yeah,
no.
yeah.
He had a kind of a funny story there actually. One of my a guy from my club back home. I gave Patrick a jersey there like years ago, and he wore the jersey to training. Like, and one of my like club fucking mates, just happened to show up to like I think he signed up for Cork this year. He's living in Boston for a year.
Oh
But
yeah.
yeah, it was like, yeah, I just thought it was hilarious. Somebody arrives on in like a Ballybricken, County Limerick jersey.
I think I ran into him at the Dubliner actually not too
Yeah,
long ago. But yeah, they get a good mix of guys. Cork, Boston do so. They do a good job intertwining Americans as well. And they've had some great success there the past 10 years or so. And they've really concentrated on homegrown players. So uh, hopefully we're competitive. That intermediate grade is very competitive in Boston, as you guys know. So. I don't know. There's a lot of serious teams. It'll be interesting to see who's got what on in the start of June.
So Aidan Core had the suggestion of you're not allowed into Canton on Saturday unless you're wearing a full Captain America head to toe outfit.
Yeah.
Any response to that?
Uh I suppose I won't be going to Canton.
It's all right.
I've been getting a good slagging from a few of my buddies there. They want me to run out to the field with a American flag on a flagpole and just like do the college
Do
football
it.
run out, like sprinting on into Crow Park. They think that would be very American, which it would be. It would be super American, but
Just think of the reels.
yeah,
Just think of the reels. That's all you got to do.
yeah. My mentor Jerome Keller would be dying laughing there. He's yeah, it would be I'd go viral on like Irish TikTok for all the wrong reasons.
For the right reasons.
Yeah,
It's hey,
yeah.
listen,
As long as you're there with me.
not many people, actually nobody is going to have that take that title away from you, so, you should be very proud of having that first, being that first captain of the USGA county team, and I don't think there could have been a better person in my opinion. Obviously watching you for over a couple of years in Boston, you've definitely always been a standout player, and wish you all the best, you and the team, especially this Saturday, and then obviously upcoming in Queens, and then when you go to Ireland. I think you not only have the Northeast behind you, but you have the whole county, aka country as a whole behind you. So we've no doubt that you are going to be phenomenal.
Yeah, I appreciate it, guys. I really do. Yeah, thanks for taking the time here, and hopefully we can make it happen. I'll catch up with you on Saturday.
Perfect. Well, thanks again, everybody. Thanks again, Captain America, Limerick's finest. Might as well
Limerick's
wrap it
finest,
up with
indeed.
that.
Limerick's
all
finest.
right,
And
thanks, man.
we'll catch you on the next episode. Thanks again. Thanks to John, Paul, Aidan, and Jack as well. And we'll catch you on the next episode. Thanks, everyone, and we'll see you soon.